Hey. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Nestor. How the heck are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, man, it is the best day ever. You know why?
Why is that?
Because I'm here with you and I get to talk about Microsoft Fabric today.
There you
I'm
go.
pumped.
I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Chris. As
Oh, I'm
always.
so excited to be here. How the heck have you been doing lately, man?
Oh man, has been busy. I've been busy. I've been visiting my family in Peru. But I'm
Oh,
back
that's
now here.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm back here in the States, so I'm ready to go now.
Oh, that's great. Let's get into it.
All right.
Say, before we get started, though, I got a joke for you.
There you go. I was waiting for that one.
What is the biggest city in the United States?
The biggest city. That's a tough question. I know the biggest state, but I'm not
Uh-huh.
in terms of population or in terms of land.
The biggest city in the United States is obesity.
Ah, there you go. That's smart. I got it. I got it. I got it. See?
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's enough playing around. Hey, Nestor, I got a
Yes, sir.
question for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be talking about Microsoft Fabric today and a specific topic in there called AI skills. How familiar are you with Microsoft Fabric on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would say probably 3 or 4. I'm fairly
Okay.
new to Microsoft Fabric, but I have a good understanding of the basics, I guess.
Well, that's all right. Microsoft Fabric is a brand new platform that
Mhm.
like everyone is pretty much just getting introduced to. And so um one of the things that I really recommend, especially for people like yourself or people who come from the Power BI world, is Microsoft puts on these Fabric Analyst in a Day programs that allow
Mhm.
you to go from like, hey, I'm a rock star in Power BI, or I know how to work in Power BI, and I want to take advantage of these new tools that are out there. And it will take you on that journey from like knowing the Power BI world to knowing the Fabric world. And I'm doing one on December 6th. We're hosting one, and your viewers can go ahead and register. I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now. Oh,
Please.
I gotta hang on. Hang on. Pop-ups are like blocking me. Yes, yes,
All
yes.
over the place.
Continue. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right, we're trying. All right. Well, that went poorly. What
You
just
might have
happened?
so many screens.
Well, that's one of the issues. Yeah, join the chat. I said. Okay. Useless. YouTube. Useless. Power BI. Well, I'll get in the chat by hook or by crook. I'll get there.
Okay,
Don't you
sounds
worry
good.
about it. Here we go. All right. I'm in the chat now. And I'm going to post this into the chat. So there you go. Boom. So I just posted the link into the chat. Oh, I'm not a member, so that's not an actual link. You'll have to copy paste that out. Unless
Mhm.
necessary, you give me a moderator, then I can actually paste it in there. But
But you can put it in the comments, StreamYard comments, and then I can just,
okay. And here we go.
yeah.
There you go. Into the comments, and then you can post it in there. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Um, but this is a great opportunity to get yourself familiar with Microsoft Fabric because, and I'm not going to do a full demonstration on this. I just want to like give the people who are watching this a brief kind of understanding of how I like to think about Microsoft Fabric. So remember back in the day, well, maybe you don't even have to remember it. Like think of
Mhm.
Microsoft Office. When you get Microsoft Office, you get Excel, you get PowerPoint, you get Word, you get Outlook, you get a whole bunch of tools that kind of come with it because those are all the tools you need to work with when you're in an office, right?
Mhm.
Um, so like that's what Office is. Fabric, on the other hand, is along the same lines. When you're working with data, Fabric wants you to have all of the tools necessary for you to be successful in working with data. So the first tool that was in Fabric is Microsoft Power BI. So we all know Power BI, right? Power BI is awesome, right? Now, Fabric brings in all sorts of additional capabilities to help support those people that are working in data, right? So you've got your analysts that work in Power BI, but you also have like data engineers. Well, data engineers come and they work inside of Fabric, uh, right alongside of the analysts and the people who are working in Power BI, so that you're not getting a disconnect between your data engineers, where your data engineers are working, and your data analysts. Right? They're all working together in the same tools with the same data in the same integrated environment. So it becomes really, really easy to do handoffs between, hey, I loaded some data out there. Great. It's immediately available for me to use on my Power BI side of the house. And what's more important is it makes it super easy for like data scientists to come in and do all sorts of advanced AI capabilities, so that those data scientists can do some crazy solutions on top of Microsoft Fabric, right? But Microsoft Fabric also takes follows the same pattern that Power BI has, which is, hey, we want to be low code first and pro with a pro code backend, right? So if you're a pro code data engineer or data scientist, you can run and you can bring out your biggest guns and your biggest processes and whatever it is you need to do, you can run inside of Microsoft Fabric. But if you're someone who is not a hardcore data engineer or not a hardcore data scientist, and you want to leverage data engineering capabilities or data science capabilities, Microsoft Fabric makes it super easy for you to do that, right? And so what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be showing you how you, as an analyst who maybe you've never done anything with AI before, or you've never done anything data science before, can start to take advantage of these new capabilities, just like with a few clicks of a button, with a few copy and pastes of some existing code. You can get up and running and be good to go. Okay.
That sounds
Now,
great. Hey, Chris, before you do that,
yeah.
why don't you tell us more about yourself for those who don't know you yet?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a
we are
great
going
idea.
backwards here, you know?
Yeah, it's all right. Uh, my name is Chris Wagner. I'm a director of data solutions at Baker Tilly. So I do consulting, right? So I work with companies all over the United States, helping them evolve their data platforms, evolve the way that they're working with data, take them off their legacy systems or legacy processes, help them get up to speed with these new tools and capabilities that are out there. I'm also a Microsoft Data Platform MVP for the last 5 years, and I've been working in data for like over 2 decades. You can find me on the Kratos BI YouTube channels. Oh gosh, there we go. I've got them all pointed out right there. And make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, all that good fun stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
no, I was about to say, thank you for sharing that. I know you are quite popular. I see you everywhere. So promoting the Microsoft tools. So that's awesome what you do.
Well, thank you. I think straight up, I think these are the tools that can take people out of whatever humdrum job you're in today, right? And advance your career, advance your life, advance your skills to make your life something much more than what you are today. And it's all in your power to do that. And that's why I'm so passionate about these tools, is because I truly see these as a means for helping people live better lives, be more, be more successful at work, do more, and that translates into having a better home life and like all of the other things that are truly important. So I just absolutely love them.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Now let's do this.
All right, let's get into it, man.
All right. So let me share the screen.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, good deal. So we are going to be talking about, I'm going to quick do an overview of what we're going to be doing today so people understand all of these steps at a high level. Okay. First things first is we're going to be identifying a lake house that we're going to be running this on. So if you already have a lake house, you just need to know where it is. And what is a lake house? Think of a lake house or a data warehouse as well, you know what a data warehouse, right, is, right? Like we all use it. It's a big central enterprise thing that you load and manage data in. In Fabric, we use lake houses and warehouses for that same purpose, right? Difference being like Lakehouse allows for unstructured data along with structured data. Warehouse is just purely structured basics. There's big videos that'll go in more details, but find one that you already have. I'm going to show you in this demo that we're going to create one whole cloth from scratch to get you up and running. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create that new AI skill. We're going to show you how it's just a WYSIWYG, like drag and drop, click on these items, and you're up and running, and it's all good to go. Okay. So it's going to be really easy for you to do that. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we define what tables are going to be used and available inside of our AI skill. The great thing we have inside this AI skills, it's completely customizable by us, the people who are creating it. Like we're going to say, hey, these are the items, these are the data objects we want you, AI, to be able to go through and browse and make sure we use and consume. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to provide instructions for it. Okay. So this is a like chat GPT like experience to give notes and instructions for the model about like how these things should work, how that model's supposed to function and operate, and make it really easy for you to train that model to do different things, right? That's the secret. That's where data scientists would like go and spend years on. Now we do it with a conversational engagement. Next thing we're going to do, and this is where we start to see some real power, is we're going to feed in some customized, just straight up transact SQL queries that the AI should use when prompted or asked specific questions. All right. Now, this is a big deal because in Power BI is awesome for answering a whole bunch of very specific questions that we do analytics on all of the time. But Nestor, and I'm sure your listeners know this as well as I do. Like Power BI is great for a wide range of analytics, but it can be really difficult and tricky for some types of cohort based or some type of windowed function like queries. That's really easy to run in SQL. It's kind of hard to do inside of Power BI. This breaks down that wall and makes it easy for you to just take those queries that you and your team use to answer, certain questions, and you just plop it right in there. So it's awesome for that. This is straight up something we've never really had a good mechanism to solve in the past, right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can share that out to other people because, like, hey, you and me, Nestor, we know how to go get our data, right? Like, and I'm sure the people watching this know how to get data, but how do you make that random stuff available to other people? That's where this comes in because the other side of it is a co-pilot based experience to like be able to have people ask the questions instead of you of this AI skill, and then the AI skill will go and fetch that answer from the data, from your queries, from all this stuff. It's unbelievable. All right, and then the last thing, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get through. I'm pretty hopeful we're on a good track here. We're going to show you how you can even make that AI skill accessible and available via a notebook or really via APIs. So if you wanted to have like a web app sitting on top of this AI skill so that like people could ask questions through through that interface, right? Through that application, you can just do that on top of this AI skill. thus giving all of your app developers access to like questions on their data, access to information, all of that stuff. All right. Does that make sense, Nestor?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, then let's stop screwing around. Let's get into it. All right. Now, I'm going to share this. This is something you can go out and do. And Nestor, if you could share that in the chat, that'd be great. We're going to be running through like how you can create an AI skill. I'm actually going to show this to you. This is stuff that's out on the Microsoft site, so it's going to be very easy for you to get into and do. Something to note here: there are a few prerequisites that you got to lock in before you do this. All right. Now, first things first, you need to have a paid 64 or F64 or higher fabric capacity or resource. Doesn't work at lower SKUs. So make sure that you've got this up and running and you're ready to go. Make sure you've got your AI tenant switch enabled, your Copilot tenant switch enabled. And if you're using like cross geo sharing, like if you have cross geo capacities, you're gonna have to make sure that this stuff is on. Okay. Now, first things first, and they don't mention this before, but like you really have to make sure that your Lakehouse is up and running. We're going to create one live for you, but you have to make sure that this is created and ready um, as early as possible in this demonstration. Because if this isn't fully materialized, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm going to make sure I go in and I create this. And this starts to get created and available so that we don't have that bad time. Okay. But I am starting from an environment where you just saw me create this, right? Like straight up, like, there's no like magic up my sleeves. Like I don't have anything here that, I'm not showing you how to do this, right? We're just I'm making sure that these items are all created as we go. Okay. Well, I want to create this. I want to populate this Lakehouse now with some data. So I'm going to go ahead and, in order to do this, I'm going to create a notebook that allows me to populate that data. So I'm just going to go in, click on New. I'm going to click on Notebook. Okay. Now, if you, I went pretty fast there. Was that too fast for you, Nestor? Did you see what I did?
No, it was fine. I mean, I was about to ask you about the license. So
okay.
I know there is an option to have a trial. Is that accurate still?
Yes, you can. There is still a trial. That is correct. You can still do that. I do not believe that this is available on the trial.
Oh, okay, I see.
A lot of the Copilot functionality, just gonna be honest, it's expensive. I mean, it is. It's expensive for Microsoft, and while they're giving us a lot of this compute for free, they can't do that, right? So they can't just add they can't give this one away for free. Okay. Oops.
Got it.
I skipped over that. All right. So once I have my notebook created and I've made sure that my AdventureWorks is live, right? So my Lakehouse is available. I'm gonna go in and I'm just using again, I'm using all of the code that was out here on the Learn site. So I'm, you're seeing me copy paste code. This is nothing secret or that I've done anything more than that. I'm gonna be adding this into a notebook, and what I have to do for any notebook to run, it needs to be attached to a Lakehouse for where it's going to be like working against. Okay. Now you can create a Lakehouse from here. I don't recommend it because you have to create it and you have to wait for it to all get registered. And honestly, the UI for seeing that everything is created is much better inside the Lakehouse window. So start your Lakehouse, then create it here, unless you're going to like create it and then you're going to spend all the time writing your code. I I do the two-step thing. All right. Now, so I'm going to then add my Lakehouse in. Click on add, and I'm going to find that Lakehouse that I said I was going to do. So this is that AdventureWorks Nestor Live that I just created. I'm going to click on add then. Okay. Now, the big thing we have to make sure that it is that it I'm connected and I've got it. This pin is here. 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, that's going to be no problem. Every once in a while, I see it not pin. I don't know why, but that can happen. All right. Now, I'm going to run this cell. What this cell is doing is I'm not going to run through all this code here because like it's Python, and straight up, I don't know enough about Python to be able to explain it to you. Like talk to other YouTubers about Python. But what's going to happen is this is going to go through and it's going to go out to some blob storage that Microsoft has provided for AdventureWorks status, so that you can just have an AdventureWorks Lakehouse available to you in the cloud. So it's going to be up and running. We can actually see that it's running here. So 38, 39, right? So I can zoom in. It always pauses it, but it's up, it's running. It's loading all of these files, and you can see that it's cycling through the load of these files. Notice how quickly Microsoft Fabric is running and processing these things. This is not unusual. It is very common for Microsoft Fabric to just give you this like blazing fast experience, be able to just churn through and pull this information together. Okay. As this is starting to happen, there's kind of two things that actually happen. All right. So I want to, for your viewers, I want to explain this stuff. Lake houses are they're going to sit on top of files, and the files that lake houses are built off of in Microsoft Fabric are a very specific open source type of file called a Delta file. It's a special type of Parquet file that allows for read writes, updates, and to maintain ACID compliance. Okay, so unlike previous like cloud things, like you might have had some issues with or really struggled with if you worked with them, they could be like really hard to deal with updates, and like you wouldn't have a data type consistency, and you'd have to do all of this like data validation to make sure that your integers stayed integers and your strings stayed strings and stuff like that. Parquet files allow us to define that schema and maintain that and keep that together. So it's a real nice advantage. Okay. Once this is done, these files are going to load. Your Lakehouse is then going to kind of like bring them in and start to like consume them. So I'm gonna next, I'm gonna go check them out to make sure that they've loaded appropriately. Before I do that, though, I want to update my notebook name. I don't want it to be Notebook 1. I'm gonna call this AdventureWorks Load. Right. So I've got my AdventureWorks Load notebook, and now I'm gonna go over to my AdventureWorks Lakehouse. I'm going to check to make sure that all of my tables are here. And oh, look at this. I've got my AdventureWorks data here. It's all available for me to like go in and look at it. Now, Nestor, have you worked with lake houses before?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
The same one, I believe, but it's a different version.
Okay. All right. One of the things that I've noticed, and there's kind of a difference between a lake house and a warehouse. So warehouse is, and especially inside of Microsoft Fabric, think of warehouse as your classical like SQL data warehouse. All right. Except for the warehouse in Fabric is that on steroids. I mean, straight up, like I've seen some benchmarks that put it as fast as like Snowflake or even possibly faster. I don't want to get in a war with them, but it is blazing fast, especially in comparison to other versions of it. And if anyone's worked with Synapse in the past, this is the warehouse and fabric is like Synapse 4.1 or something like that. It is a much faster data warehouse. Lakehouse, on the other hand, it sits on top of these Delta files, and it doesn't have that same integration and that same. It's more like working with Databricks. You know, it's going to be super fast. You can see I'm just kind of like hitting each of these tables, pulling up the data. Uh, I don't exactly understand like the caching mechanism or for how Lakehouses do all of this stuff, but I have noticed that if I kind of do like warm it up, like you see how like the first time I click on a table, it's a little slow. If I go back to it, it's blazing fast, right? It's got all of the data there. It's just, you know, it's right available. So and the reason I'm warming this up is on the AI skill, I'm going to want this to be kind of warm and ready as I develop it. For your users that are coming in and starting to hit it and use it in the future, you're not going to have to worry about that. It still maintains that, like once it knows what people are doing, it like it's smarter that way. I don't know how to describe it other than that, but I'm just going to run through. I'm going to hit on a few of the tables that I know it's going to be looking at. Let me get the data together so we get this stuff up. Yeah, did salesperson finish? Come on now. So, not super exciting, but I want this to be warmed up before I go in and click on the next thing. Okay. Now, all we're doing here is like your classic data engineering activities of loading and creating a warehouse. If you already have one out there, like you don't have to do this. You could fast forward to whatever timestamp we're about to hit on this live stream. You know, like 28 minutes in, and we should be good to go. Okay, I think maybe this one. Sorry, they've actually grown the number of fact or tables inside this since last time I hit it. But okay, so this is ready to go. All right. Now I'm going to go back up to my workspace and I've got all of these things ready. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating my AI skill. So again, I'm going to go to new item and I'm just going to type in AI, right? I'm going to look for my AI skill here and click on it. Okay. Now it's asking me for what am I going to name it? I'm going to call this one my Nestor AI skill. Create that. Okay. Now, just like with the notebooks, your AI skill wants to attach itself to a lake house or warehouse to get up and running. So I'm going to connect it to, and I'm going to confirm that I'm going to attach it to this one AI skill right here. So, or to this, to the lake house that we just created. I'm going to click on confirm. Okay. Now, come on now. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get started on this. And this is our build out that we're going to be doing here. Now, oh, come on. Oh, good, 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 good. Okay, so I've got all of my tables that are available here. I'm going to let you know straight up, if you didn't do the uh like the warming up of the tables like I did, you might find that this doesn't expand or collapse for a few minutes. And so you might not see any items here, and you might see that like this checkbox that we're going to be checking on, it doesn't exist. Okay, go back, click through, do what I did to warm up your lake house, and then you'll be good to go. Once this is all good, I'm going to go in and I'm going to uh select the tables that I want my AI to train itself over. Okay, so I'm being very specific in what I'm pulling. I'm not pulling in everything. Yeah, I mean I can, but I'm not going to be pulling in everything. I just want to pick it out, some very specific ones. And for the purposes of this demo, I'm following the list of items that Microsoft is recommending that we do, which is right here, reseller sales. Okay. So I've got those all set. I've selected these tables here. Okay. So first thing first is I create my Lakehouse. I go in to find that I'm going to be what tables inside there I'm going to be training my AI skill on. Nestor, any questions so far? Does this make sense?
Yes, we are good, I think. I haven't
Okay.
seen questions from the audience yet.
Okay. All right. If people have questions, ask. Feel free to ask. I'm happy to like jump in and answer those questions. Okay.
That's good.
All right. Is this hard? Have I done anything that you're like, oh no, Chris, this is super difficult. I couldn't do that. Ooh, did I lose you?
No. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, all good.
Okay, great. But this is easy enough to follow. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So
great.
there is a question. Let's see. Or do you want to leave the questions to the end?
No, you can ask the question. Go ahead.
Okay. So Gary, thanks, Gary, for your question. Can you explore this capability with an pay-as-you-go fabric SKU to make this affordable for small businesses and independent consultants?
So, yes, if you're doing a pay-as-you-go fabric F64 SKU or higher, you can do that. But you have to turn on the F64, run it, and then make sure you turn that off or dial that back. Otherwise, it won't work. So,
Okay.
great question, Gary. But like, yeah, I know like Kevin's doing that, right? All right. Let's see how this is working. So I'm going to go in. I'm just going to ask the AI a question. Okay. I'm going to ask it, what is the most sold product? Hit enter. Okay. Yep. I don't need to have that little warning there. I can zoom. Oh, I'm a little too high. Okay. So the most sold product that's going to go is it's giving me the bottle of water. Okay. Um, and let's take a look at it. Even shows me what the query it was that it wrote. So it said, okay, hey, you
I
asked me what.
know. I was
What's
about
that?
to ask you. So they give you the SQL piece right there. That's awesome.
Right. So I can go ahead and I can look at this and I can see, is this what I want, how I want this to be answered? Right. So I can look at this and say, hey, okay, select top one English product name as most sold product. Okay, that's cool. From dim product, where join on the fact internet sales on product key to product key, group by English product name, and order by some fact internet sales order quantity descending. Okay, hey, you know what? That's that's actually pretty good. But what if I wanted to be I didn't want quantity, right? Like I don't want it to be quantity. I want it to be by the actual dollar amount, right? Like like okay, great, we sold a whole lot of bottles of water, but that doesn't tell me um like where I'm getting all my money from, right? Those are a buck a piece or 50 cents or whatever they are, right? That doesn't do anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to train my model and I'm going to actually put in an actual a comment and I'm going to train it using natural language, right? So I'm going to say, hey, whenever I ask about the most sold product or products or items, the metric of interest is total sales revenue and not order quantity. Okay. So this is just English, right? Like just straight up English. I'm going to hit enter on this one. Okay. Now, the AI skill is going to start to take what I learned. Oh, look at how fast that is. Son of a bee. Look at that. So I told it, I corrected it. So hang on, make it based on the amount, right? I just told, and look at that. It rewrote, it got a new result and it showed me the query that it used for that result. It said, okay, hey, you want the top one? Here you go. It's the black mountain bike. And this is our sales revenue that we had on it, right? So it gave me uh, that information here. I'm all set with this one, right? Like, so I've got this. Now, I could also use and tell it, you know what? Um, uh, yeah, if I didn't like this, I have two fact tables in here. If it gave me internet sales, I could also or it gave me reseller sales, I could provide it some more information, right? I could say, you know what, the primary table to use is fact internet sales. Only use fact reseller sales if explicitly asked about resales or when asked about total sales, right? So total sales across those two. Again, it becomes a training exercise. I can post that in. Now, if I wanted, um, I might want to add a whole bunch of additional um, uh, notes and comments on this, right? So I could add all of these one at a time inside of here, and I could train my model as I go and as I evolve. One of the things though that I really like is I like to actually put all those comments inside the notes for the model so that I can go back and I can see what it's been trained on. Okay. So I've got all those components in place and I could just go and paste a whole slew. And in this case, I've got a whole list of items and guidance I'm giving it. Right. So I've got uh, Microsoft in the example gives us all sorts of things that we can train and guide our model on. Right. And you might find that inside your model, you've got similar types of explanations and notes that you might want to have and that you want to go in and actually update those and make those available. Right. Um, Now, big thing here, guide the AI by providing short and direct instructions. Okay. That's really important to make sure that people like the AI learns from the information that you're giving it. All right. Any questions about how we can update and train the model so far?
More than a question, I have a comment. So before
Hmm.
we start training the model, we have to
Hmm.
select the tables.
Right.
What happens if we don't select the tables? Or is it automatically by default it selects everything? You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
yeah, that is a great question. Uh, I have never attempted it without
I
without
know.
selecting it first. So, um, uh, I suppose we could try to create a new one and try that. Let's try. So,
Yeah.
like heck, let's do it live, people.
Let's see what happens.
Right? So we're doing the AI skill.
But I
Uh,
see what you're doing there, because it would be better if we narrow our scope. Just select the specific tables and go from there.
right.
But I was just curious about, if we don't select anything, is it by default selecting everything?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
And
So
that's more.
until I select something, I can't start.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So good. So we don't need to doing it live. We're going back into this one. Okay. Now we have a few options. We can, we've got, oh, this is new. We've got the option to like preview the data so we could see what's going on down there. We can also turn off the show execute SQL, right? So if we don't want to see the SQL, we can turn that off. I, as as a developer who knows SQL and thinks SQL should, well, frankly, I think SQL should be learned by everyone. I would highly encourage that you leave this on so even everyone should be able to see the SQL, and so it becomes easy for people to learn this stuff. Um, but those are some of the options that we have so far on how we can train our model. Okay. The big next one we have is being able to put in questions that aren't intuitive. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So I know for a fact that like, how is it going to know how many active customers we have? Right? Active customers is like, what's the definition of an active customer? No, it's going to try and answer that question, right? But it doesn't know what it means. Yeah, it's saying where the date of the first purchase is before 6/1/2010. This isn't the statement for that. So if I have something specific of how I define it, I can go ahead and I can do that, right? So I could say, if someone asks, how many active customers do we have on June 1st? Here is the example of the SQL query that we should be typing in. Right? So I'm going to put in the SQL query here. I'm going to say, select count as active customer count from fact internet sales, join on dim date on order date key, where full date alternative key is between 6 months prior to that, the date given, and the date, and then group it by it so that we can actually get that having sales orders more than 2, greater than equal to 2, right? So like that's what my definition in my company is for someone for a new customer, right? So I can define that. Now when I go and I ask that exact same question, how many customers do we have on June 10th? I'm going to ask this question and it's going to go in. Come on. Preview features. Gotta love it. It didn't run my query.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's also a live session, you know.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah. So I'll say a good 80-90% of the time this works exactly as we'd expect. It did not work in that case.
It doesn't work on Saturdays very well.
Yes. Let's try a variation. Let's try June 1st, 2014. It didn't. Oh, it did do the same thing. Interesting. All right. Well, so okay, so it didn't actually get implemented the way we'd want it to, but you know what? Oh wait, maybe do I have to have it selected?
Maybe.
Let's try it again.
Let's see.
Nope. All right. Well, be that as it may. All right.
Hey, there is another question here.
Yeah.
Gary is on fire.
Yeah.
Can a model be trained by an IT expert who knows the nuances of the various facts and dimensions, and then polished for users who can just ask their natural language questions in business terms?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, Gary, is we're training this AI skill. Us as IT professionals who know the model, know the data. And I mean, like we're that's exactly what we're doing. The final step we're going to have is we're going to publish this out. We're going to show you how you can actually share this to other people so that they can consume it and that they can use it. Oops, I don't want to save it as something else, but like, so yeah, this is the actual training that we're in the process of doing, right? I wouldn't expect users to know how to do this or how to train the model. So this, what we're seeing here is the IT pro side of the house. Okay. And what's super cool here is like I might have, and in fact, I've worked in teams that had lists upon lists upon lists of queries they use to answer questions that come in from people, right? So they get requests, hey, I need to know this. And they go in and they run that query and they send the response back, right? And the idea is that they run the query within 3 days or whatever their SLA is and stuff, right? This, though, actually also allows you to import the stuff from a JSON.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just go out, and if I have a JSON file that's got all of these queries in it, you could see like in this one, I think I've got like 16 queries in it. I can just hit upload. What? Oh, I was taking one here. Let me delete that one. Delete that example. Yes. Now let me import it. Oh, they improved that. That used to allow for duplicates.
Yeah.
So now I uploaded it, and now I've got all of those questions that I, as an IT pro, know about my model, updated and added into my training. Okay. And now I can go in, I can close out, and I can see that those are still there. I can always go in and I could either delete them all and re-import, right? So I could just delete all JSON. Oh, that was a download.
Mm-hmm.
I could delete them all. Yep, delete them all. And then I could import them again because, why the heck not? Right. So I could reset these over and over again. This means I can get all of my trainings defined on this AI skill, uploaded into Git and managed in my code, along with all of the notes that I have for my model. I can get that all set up and ready to go. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, I think this is just fantastic, right? All right, good. So now we've got that. Now we could keep running through this stuff over and over again, but I'm going to show you the cool thing that we got here about like now. Let me show you how we can publish this and make this available for other people. So, all right, this is going to be my demo for Nestor of the new AI skill. Hit publish. Great. Now it's been published out. Big thing I need to do at this point in time, though. Oh, interesting. Is I need to share this with someone. So I'm going to share this with the Power BI Luchador.
There you go.
Oh, wait. No, I have to do it to my DataGot account, and hits copy link. And I can go and I can actually log into my DataGot account. And I can paste this. It didn't paste. Okay. I can now paste this in, and we'll take a look at what it's like for the users. So as a developer, as the engineer in IT, you're always going to be using this screen for building and testing. Someone who's a consumer, though, is going to be coming in and looking at it from this side of the house, right? So they're gonna go into a chat interface and they're gonna paste this in. How many active customers do we have on June 1st? Come on.
Of course.
What? oh, I know. Data guy doesn't have access to the data. Right? So let me share the data
with a profile. Okay.
Yep. You can read all of this stuff, and yeah, I don't exactly know the security, but we're in a demo, so I'm gonna share everything. What's that?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. Now always refresh because security matters, right? Like that. So now we'll try it again. How many active customers do we have? Here we go. We didn't there we are. I still didn't do didn't give me the right answer again, but because my trainings are wonky. But let me ask let me ask the original question that I had that was working.
Okay.
What's the most sold product? And let's see if I get water bottle or mountain bike. I should get mountain bike. Oh, look at this. So it gave me all of the most sold products, right? So, and I could see all of that. Yes, it's the one I had trained it on, and I could see the query that was executed. It was, this is right. This is what I want to do. I want it to be. Go ahead.
Since the end users might not be technical, and we don't want to overwhelm them with the code, can we hide this there?
Yes, that was that. Oops. Yeah, that was that toggle setting that we had on over here about show execute SQL.
That affects also the end users. Okay.
Right. So now we're going to hit share. Oh, wait. Now we're going to say publish. There it is. We're going to publish this. I'm going to publish it. All right. It's successfully published. I'm going to pop back over. I'm going to refresh. So again, security. I'm going to ask my question again. What is the most sold product? And there we go.
Boom. Okay.
I get the top results and no SQL there. Okay.
But here's the question though. If we go back to the previous right there.
Yep.
If we turn this off, so for the IT person will be also off, correct?
Correct.
But that's something that we wouldn't want because the IT person wants to see the code. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I can turn it on here.
And then right before we publish, we turn it off. I see what you're saying.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right. We just don't turn it on with the published. Right.
Got it.
Right. So, and then the last thing that we can do, so I'm going to go back into my notebook and I'm going to like ask it a question. Try and use an API to ask it a question. Okay.
Ooh, API is fancy.
Yeah. Right. Are you excited? So I'm just going to go into that my Nestor's where I created the import just so I don't do another one. I'm going to paste in the code that Microsoft gives us for this. Now, I do have to update this URL for the AI skill. That is something that's easily accessible. All I have to do is I have to go into settings. And then I go to publishing. Yeah, publishing. And here is my URL that I have for the AI skill. So once I copied it, I can just go back to that notebook and I can change this to the URL. And now when I run this notebook, what's going to happen is it's going to call this URL and it's going to ask, what is an example of what is an example product? Okay. So if I hit run, I'm going to see it's going to run and we're going to get a data frame here that's going to show us the results of that question. Here we go. Come on now. There we are. Road frame black, 210. And if I go back to my my original question that I was asking, what is the most sold product that we saw good results on? I can just update my URL here, or I can just update my question here. And I can go back and I can rerun that cell. I can see that it's going to execute, and I can see that I get the same results that I was getting through the URI side. Oh, look at that. It didn't truncate for the API. That's fantastic. So, whole bunch of great ways to interact with this new AI skill to give both users access to be able to run different queries and get different information from it, as well as applications in your environment can run and get that same information from you, all from one API. They can ask as many questions as you want about your data and get that stuff back. Isn't that awesome?
It's great. For sure. So, question: how different is this than Copilot? Is it integrated, or how does it work? Trying to understand the nuances here.
Great question. So this is basically, think of this as like your own. You're building out like a Copilot experience, right? Like so, Copilot is using. Let me go back into it. Where's my AI skill? Right. This right here is training the Copilot area, and this all of this is training that model to then be able to have Copilot generate the SQL or find the SQL that should be run against it, right? So this is basically creating your own custom LLM in order to generate and execute the queries against your own data. Right? So it like goes hand in hand with the other copilots that are out there, right? Like you just have different copilots that have different kind of purposes for them and how you train them. Does that make sense?
Yes. And also another question. So once we are done with the training, once we are done we just train the model, and then we go access to the end user to ask questions. So we are getting the data in a table format. Since we like Power BI visuals, so my question is it possible here to get as a result a chart, like a line chart or something like that, or we have to go and use Power BI instead?
Today, it just gives you the like the examples that we were showing. Just gives you the tabular information, the tabular data back.
Okay.
That doesn't mean tomorrow it couldn't do more than that. That's where I'd head over to ideas.microsoftfabric.com, and I would definitely provide that feedback for the team. I can guarantee they are actively working on this right now. Enhancements are coming. It's on the roadmap for more and more things in this area. This is going to be a foundational way for how our users are going to be consuming and using information. And I cannot emphasize how important it is to start using this type of foundational preview feature as early as possible so that we can provide the right feedback to the product and engineering team to help them get to the right destination as early as possible. So like I would highly recommend submitting an idea for, hey, I'd like to also see a visualization along with this. That'd be great. Number two, what I would love to see, and I cannot emphasize that enough, is I would, in fact, Nestor, you could stop sharing our screen because I don't have anything more to show you here.
Okay.
I would love to see that we were able to like have our users rate how well the questions are. And on both, I would like, as an engineer who's developing my AI skill, I'd like to give it a thumbs up every time it gets the answer right. I want to be able to give it a thumbs down every time it gives it wrong. And I want it to like improve and know like, oh crap, that wasn't right. Let me get better at this. Right. And then on top of that, as the owner of an AI skill, I want to see all of the questions that are being asked of it, all of the answers that it's giving, as well as what the user said thumbs up or thumbs down. And I want the ability to go back through it and look at it and go, yeah, that's right, or no, that's wrong. So that even if the user said, hey, that looks like it's the right answer, if it's the wrong answer, I want to be able to go in and back and say, no, that's the wrong answer. Let people know about that. I think that's super important for us, especially as we're starting to work with these new tools and these new capabilities, to like be transparent with people about like how how well the tool is performing, and show that progression over time, right? Like okay, maybe it's doing the right answer. Let's say it's bad. It's 30% of the time at the start. But like over time, it's 40, and then 50, and then 80, and then 90, and then 99% of the time, it's giving the right answer. Users need to see that level of quality and trust so that they can actually go in and like work with this data in the right way. And I'm gonna like counter anyone who would challenge, like, hey, I don't want to use it unless it gives me 100% the right answer every single time. Uh, we're talking about not how we look at the data, but how users look at the data. When they ask this question, even of your reports that are out there, how often do they look at your reports and get their question answered correctly each and every single time? That answer is like literally it's sub 30% in some studies. If you just ask a user to go in and look at a report and tell them what they're seeing from it, even if the report is spot on, only a third of the time are they actually answering the question right. So if we can get AIs that are giving us good answers that provide the right answer to a user's questions above the threshold of what a user is able to like discern that data from, that starts to become a win for us, even if it's 40% of the time it's coming up with the right answer, just because users take away the wrong information all the time. So
I
that's
know.
why I think that's important.
Yes. I know this tool is in preview.
Yes.
So do you know how long would it take to make it just public,
To make it generally available?
generally
Um,
available? Yes.
yeah, that's a great question. I think some features spend longer in preview than others.
Hmm.
And I think one of the big advantages of preview is that as we get feedback and as we go out to ideas.microsoftfabric.com and say, hey, I want this functionality, we can see those updates come at a faster clip as long as it's in preview. The second it goes GA, then they have to go into a much more robust development process to make sure that it stays up and we don't have issues with it. So, like, we definitely want to get started, engage with it early, but just be aware that while it's preview, you could see changes come and go. Like, hey, I didn't have a preview data the last time I did this demo a few days ago. Now I do, and that type of thing, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It might take, and this is just my guess, it might take probably a year or maybe more than that to. I
It,
know.
it it really depends. I mean, like shape maps has been in preview for I think almost 7 years at this point in
Oh, there
time,
you go. So I'm
right?
totally wrong then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but other things spend, I think the minimum amount of time something can be in private preview, I believe, is 3 months,
Okay.
because that's how long it takes for like all of the security requirements and the all of that stuff to be vetted and for it to be applied. It has to be in preview for like for that period of time before it can go to generally available. So
Okay. That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense. Well, this was a really good session. Let's see if we have additional questions here. So Dr. Haas is saying good evening.
Hey, good evening, Dr.
Good
Haas.
morning from here. Yes. And
Oh.
then, yeah, I don't think we have more questions. But the good thing is this is being recorded, so people
Yeah,
can
if you
watch it
got
later.
questions, put them
Mhm.
down below.
Exactly.
Right. I'm gonna make
Exactly.
Nestor answer them because I don't get alerts on Nestor's account. But um,
Awesome.
but
Chris.
if you have questions for me, head over to my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Let me show you here your YouTube channel right here.
yes, yep. Head over there, interact with me, follow me, like, subscribe, leave me questions. I'm happy to answer them. I do my best to answer them. life's busy. Maybe I can't get to them like in the same day or two, but I try to get to them at least once a week. I'm out there answering questions. So let me know. All right.
So you also are on LinkedIn.
Yep. You can find me on LinkedIn as well as on X.
There you go. Kratos
Awesome.
BI. Your website?
Yes.
KratosBI.com. And also we have more information here.
Oh yeah. And if you actually like need legitimate help from me, like you want to like actually consult with me, head over to bakertilly.com/digital. 100%. I got several teams of people that are, well, we're fairly busy right now, but like we are always happy to flex in and try and take on and help other people with other things. So head on over there and let us know. Happy to reach out and help you out. All right.
Awesome. So Chris, anything else? Final thoughts?
Man, I gotta say, just and Alex Powers was on the live stream yesterday. He had a great comment. I'm going to butcher it. Sorry, Alex. But as we look at these tools, have an inquisitive mind, try things out, test it out. The future of data and technology is in our hands. We're the ones who decide what it's going to look like, how it's going to function, how it's going to work. Get out there and play with it. Try it. Remember what it was like as a kid to explore new things with excitement and vigor and test it out. And if it works for you, great, use it. If it's not quite ready, fine, provide feedback. Come back, test it out, see what it's like when at a future point, right? There's just so many awesome things out there. Just get out there and give it a shot. All right.
Yes, totally agree with that. Chris,
Awesome.
Thank you again for your time. And I'm pretty sure the community is also very thankful for your knowledge, for sharing your skills with everyone.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You have the best day ever. All right.
You too. Thank you, Chris.
Peace.
Thank you, guys. Take care.